First at 4, a former WYMT reporter talks about losing a family member to COVID-19. And an Eastern Kentucky singer needs your help while you are quarantined for his next music video.
And strong to severe storms are likely this afternoon and overnight tonight. First at 4 is next.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. Our coronavirus coverage will begin shortly, but first at 4, we have already seen one tornado warning this afternoon in Rowan County, and this could be just the beginning. Severe storms are still moving through parts of the Big Sandy right now. Chief Meteorologist Paige Noel joins us with the latest on this severe weather alert day. Paige?
Yeah, Steve, like you said, we already even had some damage up in Rowan County along I-64. That's all we know right now. We don't know if anything touched down and likely won't know that until probably tomorrow. So we'll continue to keep an eye on those reports. But first, let's take you up to some radar so we can see where those storms still moving through. Just south of 64 now, but in that Big Sandy region. We'll go ahead and zoom in on the one severe thunderstorm warning that we do have in our area. So you can see this does include parts of Magoffin, Morgan, and Johnson County. This is outside of Paintsville, but it looks like Paintsville is getting some heavier rain right now. This could be tracking towards Prestonsburg. You can actually see it starting to break up a little bit. This goes until 4:15. I think we'll see it expire there at 4:15. Keeping an eye on this cluster of storms. It was warned when it was over into Montgomery, Bath, and Menifee County, but now as it starts to move into parts of our area, I don't think that they are going to issue a warning for this, but definitely some heavy rain and gusty winds. We do have this severe thunderstorm watch. That's until 8 p.m. and like Steve kind of said, this is just the beginning right now. We still have this enhanced risk for severe weather. Remember, that's a 3 out of 5 on the severe weather scale, and this is supposed to update at 4, and I don't think it's updated quite yet, but I don't think we'll see much change. Remember, that enhanced 3 out of 4 on that severe weather scale. The main line isn't even going to move in until very late tonight. We'll talk about that main line that'll move in later tonight coming up in a little bit.
All right, so still a ways to go, possibly, Paige. Thank you. An Ohio man died last month, and weeks later, his family was informed that COVID-19 was to blame. Justin Setzer left Eastern Kentucky when he was 16, hitchhiking his way to Columbus, Ohio. Many of his family remain here in the mountains. That includes his nephew, former WYMT reporter Sean Allen. When Allen received the news of his death, he was in shock because he had not taken the threat too seriously.
Until you actually do experience some sort of loss because of COVID-19, or until your life's affected at all, it just doesn't seem real. It doesn't seem real. And unfortunately, for the most part, I know a lot of other people who thought like I did just a few weeks ago, but are now saying that they too, took it too lightly.
Allen says the loneliness his uncle had to deal with in his last days is unimaginable, adding that taking steps to prevent the spread of COVID-19 is the best way to make sure no one you love has to go through the same thing. Nearly 2,000 Americans died of the coronavirus just yesterday, the most in a single day by far. The death toll is now fast approaching 14,000 in the U.S. 5 weeks ago, only 9 people in the U.S. had died from the virus. Since then, there's been rapid acceleration. Yesterday, New York had its highest number of deaths in one day. New York's governor ordered flags lowered to half-staff and warned the coming days might be just as bad. Despite the numbers, New York's governor says social distancing seems to be working. Hospitalizations are down. The Chinese city where the coronavirus started ended its more than 2-month lockdown today. During the lockdown, healthcare workers treated more than 50,000 workers. Chinese officials report at least 2,500 people in Wuhan died from the disease. More and more shops and factories are now reopening but staying cautious. To mark the end of the lockdown, Wuhan put on an extravagant light show. The first confirmed coronavirus case was reported in nearby Wayne County, West Virginia last night. Officials with the Wayne County Health Department say they are working to notify anyone who may have come into contact with that person. We do not know the age or gender right now. We also do not know the person's condition. For people in Tennessee, they can now get their coronavirus test results a lot sooner. Yesterday, Tennessee received its first small shipment of the Abbott tests. The tests were given emergency approval by the FDA last month. You can learn if the test is positive within 5 minutes. If it is negative, you learn within 13 minutes. The tests are free for anyone showing symptoms and instructed to be seen by a healthcare provider. Tennessee tested 53,000 people during the past month. The CDC is advising people when they are out to use a cloth face covering to help slow the spread, but they do not want us to take medical supplies away from those on the front lines. There are several different ways you can create your own mask at home without even sewing. Scott Lockard with the Kentucky River District Health Department says wearing masks can be beneficial.
The cloth masks are more appropriate for use, not particularly because they're going to protect the individual that's wearing the mask, but that they're going to protect others, because if the person that's wearing the mask coughs or sneezes, it's going to contain those droplets.
Now, you should still be social distancing even if you are wearing a mask. We'll explain how to create your own mask coming up at 6. As people are forced to stay home due to COVID-19, one local country artist is asking people to spend their time making a video for his new lyric video. WIMT's Emily Bennett talked to Wolfe County native Tyler Booth about how you can be featured.
3 weeks ago, country artist Tyler Booth left Nashville and came home to Wolfe County.
Try not to think about it too much, because it is it's a big downer for me, because we've canceled dates everywhere.
Just months after signing with Sony Music in Nashville.
That's where my heart is. It's out on the road, just playing for people, and that's the reason I do it. It's to kind of get to know people and just bring everybody together and have a good time.
But he is thinking of ways to keep his fans involved.
I think it's a good way to kind of just include everybody and just kind of show off a little bit of their creativity during these times.
Booth cannot shoot a music video for his new song, Half a Mind to Go Crazy, so he is asking fans to send in videos of how they are staying entertained.
Doing some wacky, funny stuff to maybe make like a montage, little slideshow clip of things that everybody are doing during quarantine.
Trying to stay connected to his fans through this pandemic. In Wolfe County, Emily Bennett, WIMT Mountain News.
Booth has been doing Facebook Live concerts every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Tomorrow's will have a classic country theme. Tonight at 11, Emily will have more on how Booth is staying connected to his fans as concerts are being postponed. The coronavirus is taking the lives of frontline workers at grocery stores. At least 5 employees at supermarket chains have died from the virus, including 2 at the same Chicago area Walmart. 48-year-old Philip Thomas worked at Walmart for 9 years. He died 2 days after calling an ambulance for himself after struggling to stand up. Thomas's sister, Angela McMiller, says her brother and his co-workers were not wearing any protective equipment.
Do you know if your brother was wearing a mask and gloves at work?
I don't think they were wearing, none of them were wearing bad masks and gloves.
Walmart is now limiting customers in its stores, providing masks and gloves for employees who want them, and taking their temperatures upon arrival. The new measures did not stop a wrongful death lawsuit against them. An attorney representing Wando Evans, who worked at the same store as Thomas, died from the virus the same week. Walmart responded to the lawsuit, saying it is taking the issue seriously and will respond in court once it receives the complaint. Every year, a group of people who often go unnoticed are recognized. It's the men and women who answer 911 calls at any hour of the day or night. WIMT's Will Puckett caught up with telecommunicators at State Police Post 13 in Hazard and has more.
As the COVID-19 pandemic continues on, there are many who continue to work day in and day out to keep things running as smoothly as possible. Some of those essential workers are state police officers, but inside this building, behind this door actually, there are faces that you may never associate with the Kentucky State Police. They're telecommunicators. They are what some say are the voice of Kentucky State Police. And without them, even troopers admit their response isn't possible.
The state police wouldn't exist without dispatchers. We could not do what we do without dispatchers. You know, it's teamwork. They complement what we do. They get us the information that we need going to a call.
Next week is actually National Telecommunicators Week. It is a way to show appreciation for the men and women who answer those phones 24/7, 365 days a year on what many say are the worst day of people's lives. In Hazard, Will Puckett, WYMT Mountain News.
They say while the troopers are the faces of KSP, the telecommunicators or dispatchers are the voice of Kentucky State Police. The Pope believes climate change is to blame for the coronavirus pandemic. He made the comments to a British Catholic journalist today. Pope Francis told the journalist that COVID-19 could be one of nature's responses to human beings ignoring the ecological crisis. He also expressed his sadness that the homeless are sleeping in parking lots and not quarantined in empty hotel rooms. The Mark Twain of American songwriting, John Prine, died last night in Nashville from complications of the coronavirus. Prine grew up outside of Chicago and started writing songs when he delivered letters as a mailman. He was just 23 when a glowing review from film critic Roger Ebert launched his career in 1970. In 2018, CBS Sunday Morning interviewed him about his first release of new songs in 13 years.
Are you enjoying this resurgence?
It took some of them 45 years to get the joke. And some people are getting it now, and I'm still around to reap the benefits.
Prine survived cancer twice. Earlier this year, he received a Lifetime Grammy Achievement Award. We'll have more on his connection to Kentucky coming up at 6. Senator Bernie Sanders ended his presidential campaign today. The move clears Joe Biden's path to the Democratic nomination and a showdown with President Donald Trump in the general election in November. The health crisis halted in-person campaigning for both Sanders and Biden. It prompted many states to delay their primary elections, including Kentucky's, which is now in June. Everyone made it out safely after a fire in West Virginia this morning. Firefighters say it started at a small outbuilding and spread to a house. It happened at a house near Coonskin Park in Charleston. Everyone inside made it out safely, including a person in a wheelchair. No injuries were reported. Coming up on Mountain News First at 4, is it the flu, allergies, or the coronavirus? We'll break down the different symptoms for you.
And more storms are expected overnight tonight. We'll break down the timing and impacts next.